call the meeting to order. Please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everybody. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the meeting held on July 5th?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. And we have one person wishing to address the board on a non-agenda item. Chad, come up. I'm going to read my statement. You get yourself ready. The board sets aside a portion of each meeting agenda to hear from community members on items of general interest or concern, as well as regular agenda items. Comments are limited to 5 minutes unless more than 3 people have signed up. Then the group is limited to 15 minutes total. And we'll let you know when you have 1 minute remaining so you can wrap up your comments. And 30 seconds. We've got a new handy dandy sign. If multiple people are attending to speak on one topic, we encourage you to coordinate your comments. When you're called to the podium, please identify yourself, your address, and the organization you represent for the record of the meeting. If you have any visual aids or handouts, please see a member of our communications team prior to the meeting. They will help you distribute information and approve any item to be shown for public viewing. The board does not take comments during this time on any personnel matters, and all meeting attendees are expected to treat others with respect and civility. The board will not respond to individual comments, and staff may be requested to follow up as needed following the meeting. Thank you for coming, and tonight we will welcome Chad as our first guest.
Thank you. My name is Chad Bishop. I live at 7405 South Valencia Drive here in Sioux Falls. So I'm going to break my rule and not have something pre-written. But what prompted this is I saw Representative Linda Duba make a comment on the turnover in hiring with teachers and how discouraged teachers are with respect to the politicization of the classroom and difficulty that they're having and doing what they feel is necessary, and then also keeping parents happy. And so that's been the gist of a lot of the discussion in my request to have you levy your relationship with the Associated School Boards of South Dakota, and congratulations on your directorship there, Mr. Moran. And would like to see, and the gist of it is, you know, there obviously is this political tension. There's this miscommunication or this failure to communicate between parents and board members and teachers and administrative staff. And so I saw that you did hire 200 teachers for the coming year. So that's a big task. I understand how tough that could be. And so as these teachers come in and, you know, they're newly out of school, I sympathize. I've spent several hundred hours in the classroom in this district at All City Elementary as a parent there. And so love the teachers. I have some idea of what they go through day to day, and don't want to make their lives harder. And I can see how the political tension across the nation and the things that were happening specifically in Virginia last year that led to the letter from the NSBA, how that could happen. Right? We don't necessarily have that problem here, but you do have that conflict. And so there's parents like me who I came and I spoke to this body to address the reading of Anti-Racist Baby in the classroom without parents present, without context being presented. And the idea that you have some teachers that might take it upon themselves to pursue anti-racism in the classroom. I see it as not upholding the ideals with which that I grew up with. I see it as the opposite of Martin Luther King's dream, Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream. And so what I would encourage you to do is, I'll repeat something that I've said before. I don't know how we do it, I don't know what it looks like, but at some point the administration, the school board, parents have to come together and talk about what these terms mean that everybody's throwing around, right? I think we covered critical race theory, and I've been told it's not taught in the district, but I also understand that it's a college level course. What we see is we think we see it being practiced in the district. The praxis is occurring. We still use some of these other words like social emotional learning. And what's more gets us a little more concerned is transformative social emotional learning. That transformative word being a key watchword for those of us that have followed what Marxists would like to do in the country and have done worldwide. And so, you know, not going off the rails here and thinking these things are crazy, but you have CRT, you have SEL, you have DEI, you have these words that people are concerned about, and there may be nothing to be concerned about here. Everything may be above board. Everybody has the best of intentions. We give each other the benefit of the doubt, and we proceed. But we have seen other things in other parts of the country where these things have been done, where these policies have been pursued, and it looks very different. And 2 years ago in the summer, we saw rage, violence. We did see the hammer and sickle flying in the street, that banner. Some of these, the violence occurred underneath. And it does concern us, you know, so, and I say us, it concerns me. So you have parents who are concerned. I'm one of those. You have teachers who are experiencing difficulty. I don't necessarily want that. But how do you resolve it? So I'm asking, again, I don't have a solution that I'm proposing. I'm asking that you figure out some way to have a meaningful discussion. You know, I know there's concern about the way that the governor has gone about in the social studies curriculum, right? Removing teachers and putting people, she thinks, to come up with something that they can mandate that you're going to teach. And maybe that's one route. But these other things are a little more amorphous. It's hard for the average person to follow. You have to spend a little time digging into, but we come to some understanding between all of us who care about our kids' future and the future of our community and how we go about resolving what these words mean in our community, what we're gonna do, what we're not gonna do, and we have that debate. Because right now it's just kind of a black box to all of us. Those of us that have concern that are outside of the administration and outside of the school board, we see these things, they concern us, we see it being done elsewhere, it concerns us. But I would encourage that dialogue. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we don't have any persons wishing to address the school board on agenda items, so we'll move on to approval of agenda. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. And on to the good news report. Deanne. Or
Me.
Dr. Stavum.
Yes. Well, tonight we have a distinguished guest with us. We have Wade Pogany, who is the Executive Director of the Associated School Boards of South Dakota. And Wade is joining us because one of our very own school board members, past President Cynthia Mickelson, has received a very distinguished honor, and Wade is here to present that to her in person. So Wade, I'll ask you to come to the podium.
Thank you, Dr. Stavum, and members of the board. It's great to be here. It's an honor to be here. And last week at our convention, we have a school board and administrators convention, we announced that Cynthia Mickelson was going to receive and was honored as the 2002 Outstanding School Board Member of the Year. And so of all the 850 school board members that we have in our state, Cynthia was selected as the top person. And Cynthia, this award is you. When I think about the criteria for this award, about board members who are dedicated and hardworking and tenacious, cares about kids, leads their school board, leads their district, that describes you. It really does. Someone like you who has been in a leadership position to undergo a superintendent search, to implement a $190 million bond, 2 schools that have been built, the entire boundary change issue that you folks have been through. It takes a tenacious leader. It takes someone who's really dedicated to do that. And this is what this award is about. It's about that very person. And so it's great because I know you, and we've known each other for many years, and it's good to see that you get honored for something like this. And I know what Cynthia will say, though. She'll say, well, this is a team effort. This is about all of us working together, and it is. This award is also an example of the Sioux Falls School Board, of all the things that you folks have been through, all the great accomplishments you've had. But it also takes a leader to get you through that. And it takes someone who will take us through all the steps that it takes to accomplish those tasks. So Cynthia Mickelson, it is my honor to present to you the 2002 Outstanding School Board Member of the Year. Congratulations.
Thank you, Wade. Yes, please.
I just want to thank, I think I was nominated by Dr. Saban and Kate, maybe, as
You.
what I've heard a few people. So thank you very much for the nomination. But as Wade said, all we have accomplished as a board has truly been all of our work. So I appreciate you recognizing me and nominating me, but thank you for being such great teammates and getting through all the things that we've accomplished. And we have a lot more to do. So
Thank you for your leadership.
Thank you.
And
Well,
thank you, I'm just going to say thank you again to Wade for making the trip and being with us tonight.
And we have a second part to our good news report this evening. Many people think of Washington High School as the flagship of the Sioux Falls School District. It being one of the most iconic buildings downtown, is the original building, and now doing very well on the eastern side of Sioux Falls. And so in our school spotlight tonight, Carrie Papke is the principal there, and she is joined Heidi Jorgensen. They're going to share a little bit about the students and the happenings and the staff at Washington that make it such a great place. So we'll invite them to do so.
Well, thank you and good evening. We are excited to share some great things happening at Washington. As Deanne alluded to, Washington High School, the original Washington High School, was established in 1908 and was located downtown. It is now the Washington Pavilion. Current Washington High School is located in the northeastern portion of Sioux Falls and serves most of eastern Sioux Falls. If you know anything about Washington, you know that it is founded in a rich history of tradition and excellence. And speaking of tradition, one thing that we are very excited for this year, it is our 100-year anniversary of Orange Letter Days, which is Washington High School's homecoming. We have a fun-filled week of activities for our students as well as our alumni, and we hope to welcome them home on Thursday evening with our variety show and coronation. We hope they come out to the football game on Friday night, maybe do a little tailgating and cheer on our Warriors as we take on the Watertown Arrows. And then we're excited to be partnering with the Pavilion on Saturday morning, where we are going to offer an opportunity for alumni to gather, maybe have a little breakfast, and do a tour of Alumni Hall. We're also going to offer that same opportunity at the current Washington High School, as we have a lot of fun, exciting new additions going on to our building. This year at Washington, Warrior Nation will consist of approximately 1,900 students, and that number is growing. We have 124 amazing teachers and 68 fantastic support staff. At Washington, we are guided by the 4 core values encircling our circle of courage: mastery, belonging, independence, and generosity. And as such, we have 2 main goals for our students. We want them to get involved, and we want them to graduate in 4 years with a rigorous course of study. While all of our 4 core values are of equal importance, we recognize and believe that it all starts with that sense of belonging. Getting involved fosters and accelerates the culture of belonging that we strive for at Washington. We know that when kids get involved, they get connected to each other and they get connected to our building and ultimately then our community. We know that students, through those relationships, tend to step outside their comfort zones and meet new people and acquire those skills that we know that they are going to need for adult life. At Washington High School, we do have a diverse student body that is filled with a multitude of talents and activities, and so we are proud of the fact that we offer over 80 different clubs and activities for our students. And we challenge them that they still come to us saying that they don't have an activity of interest, that they can always start a new one, and they rise to the occasion because on average, we add about 4 to 5 new clubs each year. We're also, as you guys I'm sure know, excited to be adding girls softball this spring, so go Warriors. The other goal that we have at Washington is we want our students to challenge themselves with a rigorous course of studies. When they leave us in those 4 short years, we want them to leave us not only with those positive memories and friendships, but also a quality education. We know that when students have the courage to take risks and challenge themselves, that they are capable of great things. And in the last few years, we've had some students achieving some incredible things on the national level. For the past 2 years, we have graduated U.S. presidential scholars, a National Poetry Out Loud champion, as well as 2 recipients of the Questbridge Scholarship. Our wall that is on, you want to go back, Eddie? Our wall, which I'm not sure if you've seen if you've come into Washington, is a wall full of banners of different colleges and universities, which we agree or would say that is a testament to the quality of education that our students not only receive at Washington, but in the Sioux Falls School District, and we are proud of that fact. This last year, as alluded to earlier, our kids have gone through a lot of trials and tribulations in the last couple of years. And so one thing that we have implemented at Washington that we did last year as a pilot is what we call Warrior Halftime. So Warrior Halftime is housed in the middle of our day where there's traditionally the lunch and study time. It is a time where our students have access to all of their teachers and all of their teachers have access to them. And in doing so, we're able to provide that academic support as well as at times that necessary enrichment opportunities for our kids to succeed. It's also a great time for our kids to decompress and further that socialization and connecting with each other. Our kids have access to the library where we've seen that they have formed study groups. Sometimes they're just looking for a quiet place to study. And most often they just want a place outside of maybe the lunchroom to connect and socialize with their peers. In addition, taken after our good old elementary schools, we have also opened up our gym. And it's a great time for our kids to be able to work off some of that energy, move their bodies, and maybe participate in a wicked game of lightning. We've seen a lot of great success with it, and we were able to decrease our failures from the previous year by over 43%. So we are looking forward to that programming that we're doing and building upon it. And with that being said, we're looking forward to another great year at Washington High School. We'll be kicking it off this Thursday with Warrior Day. Questions?
I don't necessarily have any questions, but just a reflection. You have so many great things going on, and foundationally, what stands out is the culture you've built there, and that starts with your circle of courage. And it just your coaches, your teachers, your administration, all seem to have kind of that foundational piece to the culture of the values of Washington High School. So when you spoke today, it just really resonated. And I just want to draw out that Jamie Knoll helped with getting those values out there, I think, in his PhD work. And it just is impressive how that has been carried down through the years. And I hear that from so many parents as well, that their coaches, like I said, your coaches breathe that, the teachers do, and it really has an impact on your students.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other comments?
I love the Warrior Halftime, because I think it's so true. It's not just about academics. Sometimes it is just needing to sit in a quiet place, or it's needing to move. And if you don't have opportunity to access those things outside of the school day, it's a great opportunity to be able to, get yourself energized for the rest of your day, or make a plan, or whatever it might be. So I think that's an awesome new thing to implement, and the success obviously has shown up for you too as well. And so I look forward to hearing more about the success of it this year and how it grows with more students, or with more activities or things that students maybe recommend that would really be helpful to them in their learning.
Absolutely.
I'm just glad to see Washington was able to succeed without the loss of Mark Aaron.
He paved the way.
Got better. I'd say this, down at the old Washington, I was there 3 years, and we started this whole community thing. And when they open the doors, everybody gets to come. Everybody's welcome, and everybody's somebody. And that's been kind of, I think, in my opinion, the most important thing in my years at Washington High School. And I know that these two will keep it going. And I'm excited for them. And as I am for every school in Sioux Falls, I got to be careful.
You're not biased at
No
all.
favorites anymore.
It's in good hands. I mentored both of them.
True story.
Once a warrior, always a warrior, right, Mark?
Well, I'm trying to lose a little black and orange. But
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we didn't have any new conflicts of interest this month or this for this meeting, so we'll move on to the approval of the consent agenda. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. And we have supplemental consent agenda, item 10A, approval of claims to Sanford Health. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. That passes with one abstention from Board Member Ryder. All right, on to the reports of the superintendent.
Yep, tonight we have 2 reports. The first one is on professional development with an update from Sarah Clausen on the many, many things that have been happening over the last few months. And then we will follow that with a staffing update from Becky Dorman.
Right, good to see you all again. Hasn't been so long since I was here last time. As Dr. Stava mentioned, we are in the throes of it in August in staff development. Here are just a few of the groups that we provide development for, so everybody feels like they have the tools they need to do their job the very best. Summer, my kids as coaches always tell me that off season is when they develop and get to be better athletes. And I really feel like summer is when our staff has a chance to be able to take advantage of different opportunities to hone their craft and just be really better. Rest also, and just be better at what they do so well already. And here are just a few of the things that we've offered throughout the summer for our staff to take advantage of, all of which filter right into our district priorities. This week, next week, this week we started with administrators, back to school focused training. These trainings look similar year to year. We adjust them as they go, but it's to make sure that all of our new leaders in the district have the same focus as what we've had before. So everybody feels ready to start the year and knows what they need to be doing. This year, I know Becky's coming to tell us a little more. We've had 220 new teachers. As of when we pulled this data, 94 of them were new to teaching. However, I do know that that number changes every day as we fill positions, so her number probably is going to be a little different than this one. As I stated earlier, every department needs different tools to be able to do their job well. So here are just some of the items that we focused on in different groups. Clerical need a plethora of different tools to be able to do their job in different areas. EAs coming in tomorrow, and they get some choices of what they'll be able to attend in order to fill what they need to be able to do their jobs as well. They work with many different students and need many different trainings. Same with early childhood, trying to keep that continuity between early childhood and then what happens in elementary. Moving up, they have some specific in PBIS and how that looks different in early childhood compared to elementary and then up middle school, high school. Elementary had the opportunity to attend some engagement training that a secondary already had attended, so now that continuity is there as well. And then keeping with MTSS and PBIS for the entire district as well. You'll see some of the same themes. Only things that are a little different maybe in middle school and high school as they go through curriculum adoptions, they might need some specific training as well in whatever curriculum they are choosing to adopt in those areas. And then, like I said before, we have so many different groups, and each of these groups has a wonderful person in charge of helping coordinate their department so they are well ready for the beginning of school. And then one I just had to throw in here because this one just happened last week. We hosted the Inspire Education Conference, formerly known as the Summer Symposium. It was a really wonderful 2 days, if I say so myself, but I got some really good feedback as well. We hadn't had it for 2 years because of COVID and all the things. We were able to bring in 10 national speakers and authors to pour into our staff on all of these different topics. A few more photos, and then I pulled some quotes from the feedback that I wanted to share with you. I only pulled 5, there were like 50, so just so you know, I did pare it down. down. I hope to be back next year. This was affirming to what district expectations are or should be for us teachers and helping us hone our skills to be the best that we can be. This was the first Inspire conference I've attended, and it was fabulous. This rejuvenated my passion, has given me new tools, and has made me reflect as an educator on my practices. Wow, the quality of speakers was national conference level. The topics were pertinent to our current reality. Thanks for providing this opportunity. I thought this conference was great. The inspiration gave me a jump start to the year and really got me thinking deeper into what I do in the classroom. And then the final one, the Inspire Conference reaffirmed my decision to move from rural Minnesota back to the Sioux Falls area. This kind of opportunity wasn't easily available for me in my previous employment, and opportunities to attend professional development events like this is one of the reasons why I switched to the Sioux Falls School District. Any questions?
Any questions?
I just would like to recognize how much more specific type of trainings there are now that seemed that when I first joined the board, and that really listening to our staff and making those adjustments and making sure that each area has that training that they need or listening to them. So thank you for doing that and making the adoptions of those within the district. I think it will help. By those comments alone, it just sounds like people are feeling really engaged and listened to and ready to start the school.
I agree that there's, like you mentioned, every role kind of has a certain skill set or a certain knowledge base that's needed. And so by being able to differentiate and really target those groups, it makes them feel like it's meaningful for them to be there and that the information is needed versus kind of a one size fits all. I know it's a lot more work and it's a lot more people to get involved in rooms to reserve and dates to, all that stuff. But I think the bang for your buck is definitely worth it, especially based on your feedback. But I think even just making sure that we, all those people who are serving our students and who are serving our parents when they come into the office or whatever it might be, we want them to be confident, we want them to be knowledgeable, and so these are the ways that we're going to get them to that skill level. So exciting to see the changes and the opportunities that they've had.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, can I get a motion to approve the professional development update?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. And on to the staffing update. Becky.
It truly feels like I was just up here talking about this so fast.
All right. Well, I am here to present the fall 2022 staff update. We're welcoming several hundred new staff to our district. They're all bringing their best to our classrooms this fall, and it's exciting for us. We're wrapping up our teacher hiring, and we're going strong on our support staff, coaching, and substitute teacher hiring. So this report is going to touch on a little bit of everything that has to do with hiring teachers and classified staff. As of when I pulled the data last week, end of the week, we've hired 220 teachers. A little exciting tidbit is that 19 of those teachers were former teachers. They worked for us, left for a bit, and now they're back. So this is the first year that we've tracked that little piece of data, so we're going to continue to do that because that's kind of a fun thing to keep track of. The ironic thing is that we are one teacher ahead of last year, and I know that we are still hiring, and I have a feeling by the end of the day tomorrow, we'll see this number just a little bit higher. Looking back over the previous 6 years, we've hired an average of 154 teachers. So last year at 219 and this year at 220, we are going to see that average increase. Just over 40% of the district's 220 new hires are new to the teaching profession. Approximately 68% of the hires have less than 5 years of teaching experience. The average years of service of teachers new to the district is just over 5 years. Additionally, 38% of the teachers coming to us this year have master's degrees or greater. So we like to see the years of experience staying up there, and in addition, the master's level educators. I think this is my favorite slide of all, and that's promoting from within. 27%. So between last year and this year, almost 30% of the people we hired had worked in our district in some capacity. So you can see on the chart where they came from, and then now they're in our classrooms as our leaders. This year, we experienced just a slightly smaller or a slightly small decrease in the number of out-of-state educators that we employed. This year it was 28% versus 32%. And then the chart just shows where are these teachers coming from if they're not coming from South Dakota. Some new locations made the list, including the Philippines, Mozambique, Oman, and Sweden. So new places for us. It's always interesting to see if we can spot some trends in our teacher hires that come to us with experience from the state of South Dakota. So I just did a quick rundown of where they came from, and this is the second year that we've closely tracked this data, so it's going to be interesting to see if we can see any trends. We did have a slight increase in hiring teachers from districts that are very close to us. So that'll be interesting to see if that increases or stays the same. The district prioritizes a work environment and organizational culture that fosters employee motivation, engagement, and belonging, with a focus on hiring staff that reflects the diversity of the students in our classrooms. Fall 2022 welcomed 7.27% ethnically diverse teachers from our group of 220 new teachers. District-wide, our teaching staff just over 5% diverse. So you can see we're making gains on that number. Mark, I believe this was the information you were looking for. As of today, we have 1 elementary opening, no middle school openings, 2 high school openings, and 5 special education. I'm particularly happy about the gains that we've made in the special education area. If you remember, I believe it was the end of May when we implemented some incentives. We were sitting at 25 openings. Within that time, as we were working to fill and get down to 5 openings, we did have 3 more come about. So we've really made some nice gains in our special education staffing with the incentives that were put in place. Let's turn and talk just a little bit about teacher resignations. I have 2 years of data, the 2021 and then the 2022 resignations, and the red arrow will point out the 2022 resignations. The first thing that I noticed when I looked at this data was, or most interesting to me, was those that left the profession. We hear a lot about the exodus of teachers from the classroom, so that's one thing I keyed in on when I'm looking at this data. And we can see that 19 teachers, or 13.67% of our total resignations, indicated that they were leaving the classroom. Another number that sticks out is 55 teachers said they were moving, or roughly 40% of our resignations were moving. I do have a feeling that within that moving category, you'll also find some that, yes, they moved out of state, they do plan to teach, maybe they didn't have a teaching job yet when they left us, but I'm sure that they could probably get one. And then we also saw an increase of people that decided to stay home with children or family matters. I put them in one category, and anecdotally, I did talk to a couple teachers who stayed home to work in family businesses because they were short on staff. So I thought that was an interesting piece. You'll notice overall, we did have an uptick in resignations this year. So something, again, of course, that we're going to continue to track for trending. And when we work on retention pieces, we need to see how that bottom line reacts with what we put in place. Turning to support staff. So far, we have hired 80 educational assistants, specialists, and clerical, and we still need about 35 more education assistants and specialists and clerical. We need 20 custodians, 38 coaches or other activity leaders, and then 1 lone food service worker, right, Gay? Yeah. And then, of course, 250 subs. We'll keep working on the subs. We like to have that number met by mid to end of October before the cold and flu season hits. Okay, recruitment. This is the work behind all those numbers. Having the rundown there, I put the recruitment and retention specialist at the top. We gained that position at the end of last summer, and that position has been a game changer for us. The way they are able to farm or cultivate applications, just because we have someone that's dedicated and able to do that, they've become the face, the name, and the friendly voice to the Sioux Falls School District when someone's looking for a job. So our recruitment retention specialist is Kate DePascal, and she is outstanding. We've also implemented new teacher surveys to help us, once we do an orientation, once they go through an application process, figure out what we need to change up or what are we doing that's good. We also, Dr. Boyson and I met with new teachers at the end of the year also to see what type of experience that they had, and it was overwhelmingly positive. So that was a great meeting. This year we started student-teacher events. We did Bagels with the Boss. I believe we did 4 meetings of Bagels with the Boss. They got to come in, of course, meet the superintendent. They got to meet some curriculum directors, and then also talk to instructional coaches about what it's like to be a new teacher in the Sioux Falls School District and the supports that you're going to receive when you start your career here in Sioux Falls. So that was a lot of fun. We also know that with student teachers, we have some potential for some real recruitment growth, and that's a goal that Dr. Boyson and I are going to work on this fall for student teachers. We did hiring bonuses for shortage areas, and hiring bonuses, I can say, have made a difference for us in those areas. Excuse me. We also did special education stipends. Special education was definitely a shortage area. Our teachers in special education all received a $2,000 stipend, and then we also did hiring bonuses. Toward the end of May, that hiring bonus was $5,000. And we also paid that to existing teachers who transferred into a special education position for us, and we had a number of folks that did that, so we were grateful. We're also fostering our Grow Your Own through our tuition assistance. So we are also gaining special education teachers by funding their tuition. And then we do the standard things that everybody has to do. We do the job fairs and the interview nights. And then when we know we've got some great student teachers, we offer those early contracts to make sure that they stick around with us. We have the adult paid internship process that Dr. Nolt created, and we typically do hire a teacher or two a year from that program, so that's been great for us. And then, of course, our teacher pathway program. You learned earlier this summer about our first teacher pathway graduate. She was an early graduate, so next year the first full cohort will be coming through the colleges, and so I'm excited to see how many of them come back to Sioux Falls. Everybody always wants to know how many teacher applications you had. This year we had 848. We know that 66% of those people live in South Dakota, and the average years of experience of our pool is 6 years. And here's a look at applications over time. I leapt for joy when I saw that we've rebounded since last year, because last year's downward trend was really concerning. So I'm glad it wasn't a trend and it was a one-off, we hope. And so we're back to status quo. You know, this helps. You noticed that our resignations were higher, helped having some more applications. So that helped neutralize that. We also noticed in our pool that we have a number of people that want to get into the field of teaching, and there is an avenue for that. The South Dakota Department of Education has an alternative certification program, and you will see that we have hired this year 23 teachers under alternative certification. These individuals come to us with a bachelor's degree in an area other than education. They teach for us while they complete 15 credits and take their praxis exams. They have 3 years to complete the requirements, and then they are issued a professional license. We have begun over the last several years tracking the number of acceptance and declines. It is a principal has a lot invested by the time they recommend somebody for hire. So when you get the no, it can be pretty crushing. So we're very happy to see that our acceptance rate this year has increased to 85% acceptance rate of the jobs that we offer. And now it's time to take a look at what we know to be the work ahead. As I had mentioned before, teacher turnover is certainly something that we are going to continue to monitor. We know that across all industries, turnover is a concern, and of course it's here in education. This year we were fortunate that our applicant numbers came in enough to support the, don't start over. There we go. To support our slight uptick in teacher turnover. Our growing our own and our promoting, that's very exciting for us with those special educators are coming on, and then also promoting our education assistants to teachers, promoting our substitute teachers to teachers. It's great. I think the district has really done a lot of great things as far as teacher compensation, so that's exciting. I think that's evidenced by us being able to attract teachers from our borders. All of our work, of course, is outlined in our district priorities, and we're going to continue to do that work that we need to do in innovative recruitment. I don't know if anybody received the postcard at home today or this weekend, but I tell you, when I came in, first thing I did when I got back from our administrators meeting this morning, I said, "Did you get any calls today about postcards?" And they all looked at me like, yes. So I'm like, that was a success. So yes, we did get calls. It was immediate feedback, so that's great. So, and then also in all of this process, we just continue to seek the feedback of others to how we can be more innovative, how we can be more accommodating, and how we can attract more applicants and retain them. So with that, that is the end of the staffing update. I ask that you acknowledge my staffing update, and do you have any questions?
You see a difference, and this is a tough question, but in quality
Quality.
of our applicants? I mean, are we
Well, that's a great question. Because the quality sometimes, it's difficult because you have to consider that there's a whole group of teachers out there that did their student teaching online. And we still have, because of COVID, so we have to factor that in. And then we also have to look at the end of the year, at the end of the next 3 years with teacher non-renewals. Have I noticed anything? No, I have not, but I'm not in the classrooms day in and day out. I'm grateful for our instructional coaches. I think, they probably have their work cut out for them when we do bring in 40% of the people who have never taught before. So.
Yeah, it's tough until they've been in the classroom for a while. And I feel sorry for the ones that haven't had, because of COVID, the classroom contact. And I'm sure they can get some assistance from the district, and they'll be great.
Quick question, Becky. I know we went over the average years of experience across the district for new hires. What is that for just our existing teachers and the new hires? What is that average?
Yeah, I ran that number last year, so I don't have like today's data, but last year was like 14 and a half years.
Average across the district.
Yes.
So the nice thing about that is that even if we have teachers who are coming in with maybe either less experience or a different experience, the bonus is that the rest of our team has around 14 years of experience, and nobody wants to see their peer not be successful, And so we have great, whether it's the professional learning communities or other professional development, our instructional coaches, people like that who are ready and available to make sure that the people that we hire are going to be great in our classrooms. And will some need more help than others? Yes, but you could get that from a veteran teacher too. It's no different than that. So I think, I work in the medical field, and we've seen the same thing where you have residents who didn't get the same experience as they would have because of COVID, because they were like, hey, you're a doctor, almost. Here you go. You're going to do this now. You know what I mean? It's the same concept. And so as we are hiring people and bringing new people on, they too have had a different experience in their training. And so different isn't always bad. And so you just make it adaptations, and you make it work. And they may have some skills that other people didn't have with technology, because that was what they had to use in order to be successful. And so I think it's looking at it kind of at a positive view to say, how can we utilize the skills that they have, and how can we support them? And we're glad that they're here and that they applied and are in the classrooms with our students. So exciting stuff, lots of new people.
May I just take a moment?
Yes.
Becky makes this look incredibly easy. And with her presentation, the tenacity of our Human Resources Department is just absolutely outstanding. And I would dare say that districts our size across the nation would give anything to have the remaining number of openings that we do right now. And quite honestly, I would say it's a far better picture than I expected that we may have. I also think we all have to be mindful that this is a challenge that's going to be around for a while. And as I said earlier today, every interaction is an opportunity to talk about what happens in this school district, and the way that education is valued in this community is what still is bringing great people to hire, to work in Sioux Falls School District. The number one most important thing for a great education for a student is a quality teacher in the front of the classroom every single day. And so we appreciate the work that you've done, and as effortless as she makes this look, this is an intense summer of working, the onboarding that they're doing, the recruitment strategies, the cultivating of those student teachers. I can't say enough. When we saw rooms full of our student teachers coming in to be together, and they have that cohort with each other, as well as hearing from all of the people that make our school district look attractive, that pays off when we're here in August now with this few number of openings. So thank you, Becky. And it will be interesting to see the trend everywhere when there are hundreds of openings in many districts right now, but we are very, very fortunate.
Thank you.
Thank you, Becky.
All right, so no other comments. Can I get a motion, a second to approve the staffing update, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. And on to the review, revision of the Sioux Falls School District policies, regulations. Brett?
Thanks. This evening, we have 3 policies and their regulations up for review revise. These policies were previously reviewed by the Policy Review Committee and are now up for their approval. Policy EFD, this is for the pricing and payment of food service. The changes here are to the regulation only, and this is to make clear how parents are notified and when they're notified of low account balances, to clarify when alternative meals will be provided to students, and the process child nutrition services will use to address negative account balances. The second policy is JLCD, and the changes here are to allow for the storage and use of opioid antagonists by school nurses and in accordance with the program for schools by the State Department of Health. And then the final policy is KCD. There's a minor addition to the policy to clarify the scope, and then to the regulation, increasing the value of gifts requiring board approval from $15,000 to $25,000. And with that, I'd ask for you to approve the review revision of the 3 policies and their regulations.
Any questions or comments for Brett? All right, seeing none, can I get a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, those policies pass. We're going to move into executive session for SDCL 1-25-2, parentheses 2. Or can I get a motion to move into executive session?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Right. We'll move into executive session.